watch you a lot.
Yeah, I watch each other.
But every once in a while, I'll have to like zoom in on me and make sure I'm still paying attention.
Yeah.
Because I'll start reading ahead going, ooh, what are you going to say about that?
Right.
All right. Let me at least get a couple of years review. So I've got 87. You're recording some behind the scenes stuff. Is that what we're doing? All right. I think that's good. Boogie Down Productions.
Boogie Down Production. We'll always get paid.
You know, dude, TV shows, toys, there's so many like subcategories
Movies.
I'm going through. And even as I was looking at like shirts and stuff, and it's like, you know, dude, we haven't even talked about Friday the 13th, or which I wasn't really super into those.
Right. But it was popular during the time.
They were. And they were
and there's
like
a lot
everywhere.
of stuff.
And I knew about them. I
mention.
watched them. I mean, they just weren't like my favorite. I mean, because they honestly scared me.
Right.
Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall.
In 89.
I added one to your 89, April 12th. You see what I did there?
Yep.
I had to put that in.
Oh, yeah. That was off his first album. So No Fences was
Second album.
Friends in Low Places,
Yes,
right?
that was second album. But I mean, think about The Dance.
Yeah, that was a nice, good video, too. Yeah. Hey, Dave.
What's up, Chris? How you doing?
Louder. I like that.
Yeah. Working on Chris's volume. I have to turn him up a lot during editing.
Apparently, I'm a low talker.
He's a low talker.
You know, I'm okay with that. Sometimes. When I raise my voice, guess what happens? People pay attention.
Right.
Yes.
Because in your business setting, you've been in positions of authority for a lot of the time. So
in quiet places, too.
In quiet places. So when you have that demeanor, you almost have to have that demeanor to be effective. Because then, like you said, when you do, people go, oh.
It's always worked really good with my children, too. The best example I have of that is we did like a family weekend in Gatlinburg a few years ago, and my son jumped up on like the pool table at the Airbnb or something like that.
This is a few years ago?
Yeah.
Your grown son.
Yes.
Who's married.
He was, a few years ago. So he was still in high school.
Oh, okay. So
he was a teenager.
Okay.
But he and my nephew were messing around, jumping on the pool table, and I did that. I came down, I saw it there, and I was like, "Hey, get off of that right now!" Right? Not only did my son jump down and sit down, my nephew skipped over and sat down, and my mom scooted over to a sofa and sat down. And it was, the whole room leveled into a seat of like, "Oh my God, what happened?" So yeah.
See, my kids don't respond too much to the being loud, because as a coach, that's why my voice sounds like this, because I've yelled most of my life across the court and stuff like that. But you could get any of the kids that have played for me around somewhere, and if I just go, "Let's go," they will all.
That's it.
Like, they know that whatever they're doing, it's time to do something else.
I always loved the eye movement. Like, especially with children and grandchildren, you just kind of give them the eye, and it's like,
oh, my kids don't respond to the eye. It's not a thing. I know. I'm sure that I messed that up to start with. So
we're still in our timeline series.
Still in our timeline, and I'm telling you what, man, I'm having a lot of fun with this timeline. I am. I'm enjoying it.
Pretty consistent listenership, so I hope everyone out there is having a good time.
And we're up to 53 subscribers.
You told me that, and we are worldwide. We have subscribers in, I think, England.
Yeah.
And there's one other country.
I didn't look
at
the other one.
It may be Canada. I don't know if I'd really count that because it's so close, but it's technically
still another country for now. You never know, man.
There were two other countries other than the U.S. in there. So
welcome,
global
global listeners.
Bienvenidos.
Yeah, That's if
It's in neither of the countries. I
in
said,
neither of the countries.
Welcome, maybe it was Germany. That's what it was. It was Germany.
Huh.
And England.
Well, I mean, you have family ties in Germany.
There could be
so.
some ties there. Yep. So yeah, we are worldwide.
Yep.
I thought it would be Russia. Just
No, we
but-
were banned in Russia
well,
from
that's true.
from
That
one video.
You say one thing wrong.
right.
Play
You,
one
you
wrong
play
video,
one national anthem of the U.S. and you get banned in
and
Russia.
it was still really good. Hey,
Yeah.
before we get started, I have a present. For
You have a present?
for us. I do.
Okay.
Yeah, I think last episode, or maybe it was last episode. We were in the book of answers.
Yeah.
So it was the end of an episode, and you made a comment. You said, we should really add
Oh, look
a
at
magic
that!
8-ball to the table here.
Because we
So-
likened the book to a large 8-ball.
Yes. So
All
now we
right.
have a magic 8-ball. So
Magic 8-ball.
little bit of history,
Can I open it?
You can open
Okay.
it, yes. When you said that, I was like, oh, yeah, it's a toy from our childhood. Do you know when that was actually first created?
I would guess maybe like the 40s.
You're spot on.
Really?
1940s.
Look at that.
But it wasn't until the 1970s when it was released as a toy that it became insanely popular again. So
What
that's
was it before?
probably some kind of witchery tool
Oh,
or
like
something.
voodoo witchcraft, and people are do not.
It's probably, somebody down on Broadway was like, let me tell you your fortune, kind of rub it and, ask me a question. But
like
no,
that place
I
in
thought it'd be
Hermitage
cool.
that was there forever. That fortune teller
Yeah.
log cabin.
It's good stuff. So yes, now we've
All right.
got the magic
Now we
8
got
ball.
the 8-ball. I wish it kind of sat like that, but
So-
y'all will know what this is.
I open it up to. I'd like to use the 8-ball to ask or to answer some listener questions. So if you want to submit a question, I'd be
Yeah.
more than happy to use the magic 8-ball, give you some words of wisdom. There we go. Usually I do that before we start,
Yeah.
but
I still have not
Hey.
mounted this.
at least it's in the intro.
Yeah. Yep. All right. Well, let's jump into, I think we're starting in 86 is where we are now. So welcome to the show. Appreciate y'all coming. Let's get into it.
Let's go. Hey, Dave.
Hey, Chris.
We are ready to
Ready
continue this timeline.
for 86.
We are in the meat of the 80s right now. Man.
I mean,
there's a lot of good stuff going on.
86 is my freshman year of high school. I mean, I'm all about TV shows, music.
We're really full on teens. I'm 13.
Yeah.
You're 13, 14.
Yeah.
I mean, this is it, dude. It's finally like I remember getting to 13 thinking, yes.
About time.
That would, to have something teen.
Yep.
You're just, and I know now they call it you're a tween.
You're a tween.
From I guess what 10 to
10 to 12 or 9 to 12.
Yeah, you hit 13. It's like 3 years from
Now I'm something.
New
I was
club.
nothing before
New
except
club,
a
new
bother,
club.
Now
Wow.
I'm just a,
So yeah,
now
this
I'm
is
better at it.
The throes of it. But
All right, so we
cool.
got-
kick us off, man.
all right,
1986.
couple things. 86 started off. Well, you'll see. So here we go. 86, January 20th. Martin Luther King holiday is first officially observed as a national holiday.
Very nice. I would have thought that. I thought that was later, to be honest.
Well, see, here's the thing. I remember we didn't get out of school. Now we got out of school now. I'm a school teacher, so if I haven't mentioned that. But so we get out of school for Martin Luther King Day. It's a national holiday observed. So we get out of school for that. But I remember when we were in high school, you could be excused from school, but you had to bring some kind of note or something saying that you attended some Martin Luther King Jr. event.
You know what? That rings a bell.
Remember that now?
It does.
It wasn't until either my senior year or my freshman year of college that the high school that we went to started observing that and then nobody went to school.
Yeah, well, I know it took a lot longer for all the states to eventually adopt that, and I think now it's pretty solid across the board. I'm sure I'm assuming there probably is one or two that don't do it, but yeah,
I don't know.
It's interesting. I really thought it was a little bit later than that it was declared.
No, 86.
All right.
Now this one, and you mentioned this at the end of our last video when we were looking ahead.
Yes.
You said, I remember one of those first ones vividly.
Mm-hmm.
I know exactly what I was doing, where I was. So January 28th, 8 days later, the Space Shuttle Challenger explodes 73 seconds after launch. Now, the reason that I remember that we remember that vividly is we had a snow day. So we were out of school. I was in the garage at my house. My mom had pulled the car out so that we could set up the ping pong table. So we were playing ping pong in our garage. And, it's those old school 80s garages that had the two little windows, and one of them was busted out because on the peak of the roof of the garage was a basketball goal. And sometimes we would play horse and miss badly. And one time we busted that window out. So that window was not there. Because I can remember my mom standing on her tippy toes telling us while we were playing ping pong, she said, "You all need to come inside. The space shuttle has just exploded." Now, my mom's an elementary school librarian. So, with her,
that was
with her soft
huge.
voice.
I mean,
so, and we all just kind of looked at each other and we were like, what did she say? And we all ran inside. And so for the next couple of hours, we're just watching the TV and we watch it go up and then go into, the Y shape.
Well, because, there were all those stories at first, too, of like people thought they saw parachutes and it's like, oh, they could have. I remember hearing people say they could have ejected. And now you realize how ridiculous that is.
Right.
It's
you are strapped to a solid rocket going a billion miles an hour.
You're not ejecting anything.
No.
But yeah, I remember, there were all those, just reports of like that there was a crew capsule that may have separated and landed in the ocean. So they were trying to get to that and all those things. So yeah, it was just a day glued to the TV and sadly watching that over and over again. But that was,
and the space shuttle was grounded for quite a while after that. While they, it was found to be an O-ring failure.
Yeah, and I know
in the cold
temperatures. I remember it was cold in Florida that day, and obviously it was cold, here in Nashville too. For we were out for snow day, so it was kind of cold everywhere. But that's one of those
that's one of those you remember where you were, what you were doing.
Yeah, exactly. No, and I think it was really one of the first just unique events like that for us.
Yeah,
that where we were called that.
There were some other things, but that one I remember as being like, this is a true tragedy that I remember. Mm-hmm. This is something very significant happening in my life. So, all right, and then moving on, February the 4th, Janet Jackson releases Control. Songs Control, nice. Nasty, What Have You Done For Me Lately?
So 1986, that song was really good. All those were. And I think I mentioned a couple episodes back that I saw Lionel Richie in concert at a conference.
And said he was still great.
Yeah. I also saw Janet Jackson at another one of those events.
I need to start coming to your events, man.
She doesn't hold up quite as well. It seemed a little, but, to her credit, she's an active performer, right?
Right.
So the dancing and everything. And I'm thinking at some age, you just kind of got to go, maybe I should just be a singer now and not still try to do all that.
Right.
So, good for her for continuing to try to do that, but the show just still isn't there.
Well,
it's fun to hear the songs,
but
and I was never a huge Janet Jackson fan. I really liked her on Good Times. I thought she was pretty, but I was never like a huge singing fan of her. But yeah, no, Lionel Richie, he held it.
Good deal.
Janet, not as much.
You know, I found that some of these older performers, the ones that have that longevity,
Yeah.
when they're playing on stage now, they tend to do a lot less of that jumping around.
They should.
Which,
I mean, they definitely should. So.
I've seen that.
And you can totally come to a conference with me. I've seen Train. I've seen Lionel, Janet,
all right,
Bill Clinton speak, Martha Stewart. It's fun.
All
It's
right.
good times, man.
All right. Good times. All right, continuing on with the music. March 3rd, Metallica releases Master of Puppets.
Oh, I'd like to see them at a conference. That'd be awesome.
Master of Puppets.
I don't think they're doing those gigs yet.
I don't think they're doing the HR
National HR conferences.
Right.
No,
I don't know
not
that
really.
that's a.
Not really.
They're still playing to the. I mean, they're still thrashers.
Oh
out
yeah,
there.
no, they're still bringing it.
And they're, like we've mentioned in episodes before, I wouldn't call myself like, oh, Metallica fanatic. I really enjoy their music, and I really think they are just ridiculously talented. And they still bring it. Like, they still got it. But, you know, I enjoy listening to their music. And I remember that album cover. Remember the album cover that had all the, like, cross gravestones?
Oh, I do.
You know, it'll be in here, of course.
I do. You can pop that up.
Yeah. Sometimes I put them up here. Sometimes I put them down there. Sometimes I put them on one side or the other. It really just depends.
So I just tend to look this way.
Yeah.
They're over there somewhere.
Yeah. But, and then May 15th, Run DMC releases Raising Hell. Songs Peter Piper, It's Tricky. I love It's Tricky. My Adidas and Walk This Way, you know, with Aerosmith.
I was going to say, bringing back another band who
Yeah.
I think, not that they didn't already have their own path of success, but
Right.
I feel like I was introduced to Aerosmith at that point.
Right. Because up until then, I hadn't really, you know, I heard Dream On,
Mm-hmm.
but I didn't know much else about Aerosmith.
Yeah. I'd seen a couple of albums because I had an older brother, and he was an Aerosmith fan, a little more, you know, hair rock and hard rock fan.
Right.
So I've seen the album covers. So I'm like, oh, that's that band that, you know, my brother listens to.
Right. And so then when they did Walk This Way and Steven Tyler and part of Aerosmith was in that video, again, the power of video, I was like, huh.
It was really good.
Yeah.
It was a good, and there was a lot of just, you know, you had rap and rock being blended.
Yeah.
You know, in that, and I think that was significant. But no,
right.
I
I don't know if
opened
that was
door.
the first time, but that led to other collaborations because people saw the success of that.
That's
so-
got to be one of the first collaborations. Before that, I would say it was known as a duo, and then once that happened,
It's a collab.
collaboration was born. I
Right.
feel like maybe not, but
In our minds,
I would say that's where that collaboration was.
this is
born.
our show, and we interpret
Yeah.
things how we want to. Also, Raising Hell album, you know, title cover, and You Be Illin'.
It was
So
a good album.
I remember people walked around all the time. If they didn't like something you were doing, man, You Be Illin'. That was just, I said that more times than I'm proud of as a teenager.
I really did like It's Tricky and my Adidas,
Yeah.
even though I didn't own any Adidas until many years later.
I bought some Adidas in 10th grade. I bought the Patrick Ewing Adidas.
Oh. I was talking to someone the other day about British Knights. Those shoes, I had a pair of those. Had a nice blue pair.
I never had British Knights. I did have some Troops.
I had a pair of Troops as
Remember
well.
the Troops?
Yeah. And what about the Kangaroos? The
I
Roos?
I didn't have any
I
Roos.
had a pair of the. I feel like I just kind of went down the whole list, man. If it was out there,
I had some Jordans.
I had a pair of Jordans.
Remember, we went and bought them at the same
Yes,
time.
we did. That's the only pair of Jordans I've ever had.
I think that may be
the
the.
pair.
No, I have a pair right now,
Okay,
just for collector's items.
gotcha.
but
no, I've never bought another pair.
So Chris and I, we could talk about this later, but Chris and I took our entire McDonald's check,
very first paycheck,
very first paycheck that we
for
got.
both of us, right?
For
we
both
ever
of us.
earned, yeah.
Yep. And we went and bought a pair of Air Jordans. And I remember it because it was $99.99 plus tax, and it was $106.66 because we bought them at Moscovitz.
It left me with $4 after I cashed my check.
Yeah, we got because we worked about the same hours, worked about the same time, so we had about $115 on our paycheck, and we went and cashed that check and went and bought us some Air Jordans and had a pair of shoes and a few dollars left.
It was, man. It got me some Jordans and a Coke. Dr. Pepper.
Yep.
That's cool.
Yep. All right. May 25th. I remember doing this. I remember the school talking about, I think we actually participated because I wasn't at McGavick yet. I was still at the private school I went to for a second. May 25th, 5 million people gathered together to do Hands Across America to fight hunger and homelessness. So they had people stretch from one end of the country to the other. I'm sure there were obviously places that
I wonder
weren't
if they
covered.
made it. It'd be interesting. We're going to have to look that up. I do remember the Oak Ridge Boys song dedicated to that.
Right, yeah.
With reach out and touch a hand.
Yep.
Make a friend if you can.
Yep. There you go. There you go. All right. November 3rd. Not a whole lot happened during the summer. Significant wise. November 3rd, the first reporting of the Iran-Contra affair breaks. That was Reagan's biggest scandal. And it was all about diverting money from arms sales to Iran to fund Nicaraguan Contra rebels. Because apparently we didn't like the government regime in Nicaragua, so we were like, hey, we're selling arms to Iran. Let's figure out how, so.
Help out the other side. That's where we all learned the name Ollie North.
Ollie North was all about that. Didn't know who Ollie North was until that. So, and then to round out 86, I listened to some of this today while I was working out. It's on my workout playlist.
A solid album.
Yeah. Start to finish. November 15th, the Beastie Boys released their first album, License to Ill. I mean, it's every song. So, but, just rhyming and stealing, new style. Got a No Sleep Till Brooklyn, Paul Revere, Brass Monkey. Just.
Hold on. Is that a typo?
What? Which one? No, you got a Party for Your Right to Fight.
That's the name of the song?
Oh, no, that's a Public Enemy song, Party for Your Right to Fight. I guess I got tricked.
Okay.
So, yes.
All right, so okay.
Fight for Your Right to Party.
There we go.
Is the Beastie Boys song.
You got a party for your right to fight.
Yeah, the Beastie Boys song is Fight for Your Right to Party. Public Enemy had a song, Party for Your Right to Fight, and they used samples from the Beastie Boys song and just rearranged it. So yes, that's
not how I remember that song, Dave.
I guess I was thinking Public Enemy when I typed that out.
I like the meme of remember kids, the Beastie Boys did not fight for your right to party, so you could drink White Claw. I agree with that.
I thought it was funny that for the longest time, the best-selling rap album in history was 3 Jewish guys from New York, white guys.
Huh. It's funny.
Now,
good album though.
Not anymore, but great album.
Oh, yeah.
And the album cover, the plane. You notice on the tail of the plane, it said, "Eat me backwards." If you didn't know that, now you do.
Look at it.
3MTA3. I'll zoom in on it, but there you go.
You had to slip it in everywhere you could. That's a good year.
That was inappropriate.
I don't know how long. Bleep yourself out.
No.
What was inappropriate? Did I say something inappropriate?
So you got to slip it in. You That's on you, man.
It's accidental.
I had to bleep you in the last episode.
It happens.
The first one was just for comedic.
This is the hardest G-rated podcast I do. I understand it's the only podcast I do. It is,
yep.
But sometimes it can be difficult.
It can be difficult. Yep, you're right. All right, so 87.
Yeah, see if I can get through this without swearing.
All right.
1987, March the 3rd, Boogie Down Productions releases Criminal Minded. It is the first major, should that say hip-hop?
Yep.
Hip-hop album released that showed artists holding weapons. Songs included Poetry, South Bronx, Elementary, The Bridge Is Over, and Criminal Minded. I will be honest, I really didn't listen to this one a bit. I've heard a couple of these songs, but that's not one that really
So
popped
I
for
thought it
me.
was significant. Well, I own the album, and I liked the lead guy, KRS-One.
Mhm.
And he's still doing stuff, mostly I think on the production side of things now, as a lot of these older hip-hop artists are. But the fact that it was, now showing weapons on album covers is like you almost expect it. But that was the first major hip-hop album.
Caused a lot of stink.
And there was a song, I didn't put it on there, but there was a song called 9mm Go Bang. Like that was the name of the song.
That. Interesting. I may have learned a little something there. I do remember, but I didn't listen to that quite so much. The next one I did. March the 9th, U2 releases Joshua Tree.
Talk
an
about
album
a
that
monster
holds
album.
up today.
Golly.
Super strong. Where the Streets Have No Name. I still haven't found what I'm looking for, or Without You. Or With or Without You. Sorry. Yeah. I mean, that's an album that holds super strong.
And they did a kind of a mimic of what the Beatles did with a rooftop concert.
Where at?
In England.
Oh, okay.
So, the Beatles did their rooftop concert, and the police came and shut them down. Well, U2 did, I believe, Where the Streets Have No Name on the rooftop. I don't know if it's the same building.
Okay.
It might
That
have
would
been.
make a lot of sense to redo it and kind of pay
it
homage.
might have been the same building, just to pay homage to it. I should probably do more research before I just throw out
You
some
should. If you're going to
random
put so
fact.
much music in here.
Well, if I'm going to throw
should.
random facts because I know a little bit about a little bit.
It's like history, music, history, music. Maybe a little bit more history, a little bit more music.
Well, I mean, this just goes to show how much music was just, and still is, but especially during the 80s, like music was just, and the 60s and the 70s. It was.
It's still, you're still pre-cell phone.
Right.
You're pre-easy electronics. I mean, if somebody made the effort to bring out their boombox, I mean, you almost had to listen just out of respect for the effort they had to go through to
carry that thing around,
wire all those speakers back onto the back of it, connect them, and then heft that bad boy up
and put 8D batteries in there.
That alone is like 40 pounds. Man.
Right.
It's like ridiculous.
Right. And you got an hour and a half of play.
I'm pretty sure we've maybe the ones that destroyed the planet.
Probably.
All right, let's see. June 12th, President Reagan famously tells Russian or Soviet Union leader Mikhail Gorbachev that in a public speech to tear down this wall, referring to the Berlin Wall.
I remember.
Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall.
Remember I'm sure it's probably in here when it does get torn down.
Yeah, it is.
But so years later, early 2000s, had an opportunity to go into what used to be East Germany. And, there's lots of the wall still exists. I mean, and once you got away from Berlin, it was really just a big fence, right?
Yeah.
But it was still, even in the early 2000s, still very well marked. Still lots of road signage, related to, what I guess would have been, the occupying force, from the Soviet Union. But, you would see road signs, watch for tanks and stuff like that. It was still very just an ominous
I can't imagine driving around and seeing a sign that's not a joke that says watch for tanks.
Yeah. It was interesting going into some of the houses in a couple of the little towns and villages we stayed in. So this was early 2000s. Dude, there were still homes that were locked prior to Nazi occupation. People left. And some of those homes are still sitting there locked, untouched.
Really?
As they were still looking for, descendants, survivors, and things like that. So it was really...
That's eerie.
Very eerie, but it had such a weight to it to walk around and see things like that, and to go into existing homes, and you would go into the cellar, to get something out of the fridge, and you'd see the little signs, written on the wall, like, bomb shelter this way. So, I mean, there were still so many remnants of that time period left then. It was just a walking history lesson for weeks. And, obviously, there were still, we're looking, we're back 20 something years now. So there were still people who were alive that experienced that time period. And yeah, just an amazing,
very cool, but very just.
Yeah, like I could not imagine living like that. Yeah, anyway, we'll move on. All right, we'll move on. July 7th, Eric B. and Rakim release Paid in Full. Songs included I Ain't No Joke, Eric B. is on the Cut, Move the Crowd, and Paid in Full. Paid in Full, I recall. The others, not so much. Wasn't a big, it was not my big jam.
I still listen to a few Eric B. and Rakim songs. Follow the Leader. I love Follow the Leader. And Microphone Fiend. Microphone Fiend. Anyway, that's a whole other thing. Like
I get stuck on how to pronounce Rakim's name.
Yeah.
So
we had a little edit. We had to. It was bad enough we had to do that one over.
Oh.
So if you saw a little glitch,
it's like, what?
I'm still getting better at editing, but
I think they look great.
It's not seamless.
So the next one's a little bit more up my alley, though. July 21st, Guns N' Roses released their first album, Appetite for Destruction. Songs on that album included Welcome to the Jungle, Paradise City, and Sweet Child of Mine. All those songs and that album hold up super strong.
And just the album cover, And
some of the things I've seen about Axl, I wish he held up as well. But I know life's been a little tough for that dude.
Yeah, I've seen a couple things lately where he seemed to still hit the notes okay.
That's cool.
So maybe he's kind of got himself back on the right-ish track.
It's hard. Those dudes, they toured hard.
That is a very nice way to put it. That is a very G way.
They did not take athletes. So
I don't know where that's gonna be in the whole thing, but we'll have to give you some context on that at some point. But
we can dive into that further. We didn't talk about that? Was that not the intro?
That was just the messing
around.
I think that was just
totally clueless then.
Right. That was just us recording
Chris will move
our
on
prep.
Then. August 3rd, Def Leppard releases Hysteria.
Oh.
Rocket, Animal, Love Bites, Pour Some Sugar on Me, Armageddon, Hysteria. Armageddon it?
Yeah. Armageddon it. That's the name of the song.
I may have just learned something.
All right. That's why we're here. We're here to educate. I am a teacher by trade.
You read it, and it's like it just doesn't flow the way. And then you hear the song, oh, yeah, I guess that is
Armageddon.
it. Good album. I've seen them in concert in later years. They have all gotten on the health kick and tour strong.
Yeah.
So
I remember you saying that you saw them and they still brought it.
Still on stage, shirtless, man, just living it up.
Now, people give Def Leppard a hard time. They're like, all the songs sound the same. Okay, but they're still good.
What do your songs sound like?
Right. Tell us about your album and how many copies it sold. Because I'm not hating on it because we have 53 subscribers and our best video has had 207 views. So there you go.
Take that. October 14th. 18-month-old baby Jessica falls into a small well at Aunt's house in Midland, Texas. It is broadcast live on CNN.
I remember watching baby Jessica.
I do too. And it kind of goes right along with the next one. October 16th, baby Jessica is rescued.
So she was in there
live
for 2
on
days.
TV. She was without food or water for 60 hours. Bro, if I go without food or water for 60 minutes.
An 18-month-old
I am
in a well, like, that's big enough for an 18-month-old to fall down in, but not climb out of.
Because she kind of did she kind of get like bent a little bit, like maybe kind of folded?
I'm not exactly
I bet there's
sure.
a picture somewhere.
Probably.
I feel like I recall seeing that on TV of like, maybe Jessica's down like this. And
the thing is, they couldn't just go and like grab her. You know, she's 18-month-old. So, and I'm not sure exactly the way that they got her.
I feel like
I think they went down
and then over. Okay.
Yeah.
That's got to be factual if we both remember it that way. And that makes sense, right?
Right.
Because you can't.
That would be how I would do it.
I would much rather be pushed out of a situation like that.
Right. Or have somebody come under me and then let's dig out the side and go back to the tunnel that I came down in.
Yeah.
And not back up through this well. But I remember watching baby Jessica on CNN get rescued, and I was like, that's crazy. That girl's been down in there for, almost 3 days.
And
60 hours.
I feel like, too, there was maybe the news story or something, but I remember for a while after that, I had a little bit of a fear of like, is there just like a well I don't see just randomly in the yard?
Right.
Because I feel like that's kind of what was put out there. It's like she fell down an old well that was covered and, didn't know it was there. Now I walk in the backyard, like where the septic tank is, and it's got one of those little, covers over it.
Right.
And it's like, what if that grew over? I mean, I could be baby Jessica one day, down in my crapper, for 60 hours. I would not survive that.
That we've been on every inch, that we had been on every inch of your yard, my yard, all the neighbors' yards, and now we're going, wait a minute, is it safe?
Speaking of the yards, my next door neighbor, the Lehmans, I think they've all passed away, so it's okay to say. Did they have a bomb shelter in their backyard, or was that just a rumor?
They had a basement that had a coal furnace in it.
Okay.
Because I remember...
So similar to what my house had. It had just a dugout basement kind of thing.
And Andrew Zarth, Mr. Lehman or Mrs. Lehman used to pay him to go shovel coal into the coal furnace in the winter. Because I went down there with him and I was like, dude, this is a dirty job. Like, this is like you're shoveling coal. Like, just that she had a truck come up and
what was his pay rate? That's what I'm focused on.
I don't know.
Because I walked her dog for a summer. 10 cents a day.
Oh, yeah.
She would give me here's a dime.
She was a Depression era person.
She was. I went every day. So don't get the wrong idea. I did it, but did it for a nice shiny dime every day, which even in the 1980s was slightly ridiculous.
Right.
I mean,
but she had like a thing on the back of her house that you would raise up, and it was a coal chute. The truck would come up and dump.
Oh, wow.
And I watched it happen one time, and then Andrew would go down and shovel it away over in the corner, and then he would, so that he could get to the furnace, and then he would shovel it into the furnace, and it was, boy, you talk about old school.
I've always had. I think we're only going to get through 86 and 87 today. Number one,
maybe.
But I've always had this fantasy of buying an old house and finding out it's got like a 1950s era bomb shelter in it.
That would be cool.
Fully stocked and just left untouched since then. So, any of my realtor friends know of that.
Come across one of those.
My wife probably will not let me buy it, but I'd love to look at it.
Yeah, I could be. If you have somebody that's on the fence and you need to motivate them, call us. We'll come and act like we're going to buy it.
True.
And motivate them to buy it.
I like weird stuff like that. When we were looking at a house a couple of years ago, we were kind of touring around, and the realtor was, he's not a paid sponsor, so I'm not going to mention his name here, but he's missing an opportunity.
Hey.
We were walking, and he and I, we went to college together, and we're on this property. It's a couple of acres. We're walking around like the wooded section, and all of a sudden there's this deep ravine and what looks to be like this cave opening, half filled with water. And we both see it at the same time, and we both say, together, we both go, that is, and as I say awesome, he says terrifying. And I'm like, and that kind of set the whole scene of like, I'm like, no, we need to buy this house because I need to know what's down there. I would drain it, and I'd splunk it. I'd go
or
in
just get some scuba gear and
something.
Go see.
You cannot have something like that on your property and not know what's in there.
Well, I've got a sinkhole in the back that you can walk back
Really?
to at any time, and water is rushing through there.
Oh, I need to.
I'll take you to it
Okay,
sometime.
I need to come over during the day.
Yep.
All right, so that's baby Jessica. She made it.
She made it.
Wonder what she's doing
I
now.
wonder what she's doing. That's exactly what I was just about to say.
We could
Baby
probably look that
Jessica,
up.
if you're watching, she's not watching. But if you were,
I would interview her.
oh, that would be great.
I mean, it's been years
But
later.
I wonder what she would remember as an 18-month-old. Is that traumatic enough to remember? Or does she just remember being told that was you?
Could go either way. If you know Jessica, let
Or
her
you know somebody
let
that
her
knows somebody that knows Jessica.
Yes, let her know we'd like to
Let's
know.
do the 6 degrees of separation or whatever.
Yeah. Nice shirt, by the way.
Oh, you
I
like
didn't
that?
mention that earlier.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You want to read it for
like it.
everybody?
I am not responsible for what my face does when you talk. I mean, that's this whole generation summed up in
Right.
one
And
sentence.
it's anybody that knows me, especially the kids that have played sports for me, they'll be doing something and then they'll turn and look at me and they'll be like, look at Coach's face.
Oh, dude, it's all over your face. Always has been.
I can't,
You
yeah,
can't
I
hide it.
can't hide it. Occasionally I will really try.
I'm a hide it master, though. I'm completely the opposite.
I am not.
You be talking to me and you're like, man, he is really interested in what I'm saying. And I'm over here going, I don't really.
Right.
What?
You're over there going, man, I wonder what's for dinner.
The sky is blue.
And I'm just like, I'm looking at you like, you are boring the ever-loving crap out of me.
You probably don't get stuck in those long conversations, though. But I wore a special shirt today,
not
too.
usually.
I wore my
Yeah.
camp counselor shirt.
Camp Crystal Lake Counselor.
Yeah, if you don't know where it's at, look it up. Little Jason Voorhees nod there.
Yep.
And I said that earlier. We could do like a whole little timeline on movies too. 'Cause
Yes.
we that's one thing we haven't touched on, but I do see a couple coming up.
I didn't do a whole lot of movie release. I mean, you can't put everything in here.
No.
Okay. If
But
there's
that's
something,
all this podcast would be about.
right. We
Just
would do half a
stuff.
year per podcast.
We do list. All right. So baby Jessica, if you're out there, let us know. October 19th, the first global financial crisis, Black Monday, first global. Is that? Because I
What-
guess the stock market crash of 1929 was just the United States.
It was mostly just the United States.
Okay,
Now, other
that makes
countries
sense.
that traded with us felt the impact of us not buying from them.
That's just an interesting way to put it.
But-
Like I read it, and I was
But
like,
it
really?
was that one was essentially a global financial crisis because of the stock market crash.
Gotcha. So that was a stock market crash of 22.6% was the drop that day. And I do remember that. I remember
Yeah.
I wasn't at the age where I fully understood what it meant,
Right.
but I knew that it was.
That it sucked for a lot of people.
Yeah, and
That's what I
a lot of people were referring to, the 1929 crash.
Right. Black Friday, so this was Black Monday.
So yeah, it's interesting. November 2nd, to wrap up 1987, George Michael releases Faith. Songs include Faith, Father Figure, I Want Your Sex, and Monkey. That's an interesting two things to put side by side, but we'll go with it.
That's just the order they were on the
I'm
album.
glad there was a comma there, dude.
Right. That would take on a whole other.
yeah, that's a totally different product. I mean,
I think YouTube would have said, "I'm sorry, you cannot play this video."
What did he say? That would be the clip too. I mean, like, I want you. It's like, there we go, world. That's what Chris is all about.
Right. And
Man.
knowing the guy just came from, went solo after beginning in Wham. Do that.
Man,
Do
great
with that
voice
what you want.
though, man.
Oh,
Dude,
yeah.
Just, I mean, and Faith is an awesome song.
Yeah.
I really like it. It comes on again. And so much of this music, I mean, it holds up. Not just because it was the music of growing up, but I think it just holds up, man.
Yeah.
So, well, I think 2 years is good.
I think 2 years
I
is
think
good.
we're at a point where, science project check-in.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, there is almost no white left on these.
These bad boys are these are pristine still. I mean,
what kind of preservatives?
If I picked these up, honestly, and they are expired.
Yeah.
Okay. If I picked these up in the store, if I were so inclined to want to have a powdered donut, I would pick these up and eat these without hesitation. I mean, they do not look, and they're still quite soft and spongy.
I don't even want to open this because I don't know what this is going to smell like.
No, that yeah, we're gonna have to wait on that. But whatever, yeah, you're right. Whatever preservatives are going in those, man, that's oof. I mean, these are almost turning back white again. I mean, how decrepit do you have to get where you go from white to green brownie, back to white? I mean,
again,
I don't know. Dog turds do it, so it's gonna be some science to it.
We have not talked about this story and why these are significant to us, but the waiting.
But turds do come back into play. I don't know. I don't even know if you really call it that. Maybe they don't.
No turds were formed.
There was no form. That's a stretch too, dude. Oh, it was like the vacuum of space. Oh man.
I gotta get composure. Okay. Ooh. And they may not even think that story is as funny as we think it is, but we don't care.
Nope, not at all.
Because it's hilarious. It's hilarious to us and painful.
Ooh, man.
All right.
Whose turn? What we got going on here?
I don't remember whose turn it is, but I have a question.
Oh, all right.
I think it might actually be your turn to read.
Okay. So we're right on
all right.
par here.
Here we go.
Sometimes I want to write down the question before you say it to find out if we're thinking about the same question. I'll be honest if it is, though.
All right. Does baby Jessica...
I knew it! I knew it was going to be it. I was like, it's easy because I want to know.
Does baby Jessica remember being in the well?
All right. Ah, man.
Great minds, great minds.
Let's see. I'm going to go kind of in the middle. Oh, that page is marked. That means we've used it before. Is that correct?
No, that means that's one that I used often with my students. They would come to me with some question.
Oh. Okay. Does baby Jessica remember being in the well?
Yes.
That's out of your control.
Obviously. That's the one I had marked that kids would come up, and they'd ask me something or be complaining about something. I said, let me look at the book of answers, and I'd be like, that is out of your control.
So not only do you have these facial expressions that immediately shut them down, but then you break out a book like this, and it's like,
yep,
dude, you're awesome.
When you teach high school, this is why I don't teach elementary, because I wouldn't last very long. Like, you hurt Lil Johnny's feelings on day one.
It's out of your control.
Well, Lil Johnny pooped his pants. Like, I can't handle that. It's not in my teacher training.
Well, should we ask the 8-ball the same question?
Sure.
Maybe break it in with the baby Jessica question. Does she remember being in the well?
Oh, you got your readers on. I can't read that small print.
And it's in like blue water. It's
right.
Like, what are they thinking? Concentrate and ask again. So, jeez. You need to insert some music.
I almost feel
here.
like it says the same thing.
It does.
Or you do it.
What if they all the sides say the same?
What if it's weighted? So it only comes up to that.
Oh, no. This one's different. It's upside down. Stop. My sources say no.
All right. There we go. A more definitive answer. Baby Jessica probably does not remember being in the well, but probably remembers being told about being in the well.
I'm sure. Probably gave her a couple nicknames because of that. But Jessica, let us know. Reach out. Contact our people.
And by our people, it's
just Dave. Awesome. Good episode, man. 2 years. We will be back in our next episode of the Gen X timeline, starting with 1988.
Fresh
good
for
year.
88. Suckers. That's from. It's from an album. I think it's
Public Enemy.
I think it's a Boogie Down Productions. KRS-One.
Maybe we'll find out. Thank you guys for joining us.
All right. Yeah. Appreciate y'all tuning in, and like and subscribe, share, tell somebody. Say, look, go subscribe to these guys, just because we're over 50. Age-wise and subscriber-wise. So there you go.
Tie-in.
All right, there you go. All right, appreciate it. We'll see y'all on the next one.
Later.